What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or GameOverJesse, as all of you may know me. Here with me, as always, is Daniel, and returning for the umpteenth time is Axel, the Beast, who has his own mailbag, the Curiosity Shop, which inspired this mailbag. You can go over to his channel.
We're gonna rename his channel to the Beast Bag.
The Beast Bag, yes.
That's happening.
So you can head over to his channel to have very, very similar videos to what you can find on this one, discussion, mailbag questions, all of that fun stuff. But if you would like to have your question guaranteed to be answered on this podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can submit discussion topics like the 2 hours we spent talking about the worst Zelda theories on this video, whatever top 10, top 5, whatever discussion topic you may have, as well as having your question guaranteed to be on the show, because so many people submit their questions that sometimes there are too many to get to all of them. So if you want your question guaranteed to be answered, patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can get a bunch of cool other stuff. But our first question is going to be picked by Danielle.
Okay, I like this one.
That's Daniel's twin sister.
Oh, yes.
Danielle.
I like this one. This comes from The One. On Discord, he asked,
Who is
what
a Patreon
Zelda...
supporter.
Yeah. What Zelda lore-related questions would you ask to either Aonuma or Miyamoto that you've always wanted to know the answer to? So let's say we're in an interview room. We get to ask both of them one question each. What would be your question?
Where does Breath of the Wild definitively take place on the timeline?
Ooh, took the good one.
Yeah, like, I would be like, none of us are leaving. Like, you don't even have to say where it is. Like, just open up Hyrule Historia, hold it to his face,
point.
and just be like, point. Just pick one.
I would show them my Dragon Break video and say, is it?
Axel,
Is it?
I was trying my best to explain to Axel the other day on what a Dragon Break was.
Yeah, I figured that I got it pretty quickly at some point.
You know what? I'm gonna link you the video in our Skype chat, Axel.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I'm gonna do it.
It's on the YouTube channel of your ex-place of work.
Ooh.
I think technically I'm still on the Nintendo Prime staff list.
No, I was talking about Axel's ex place of work.
Well, it's on the Nintendo Prime channel, so it's...
Yeah. So, Axel, what would you ask Miyamoto Aonuma?
Can you please make a... Wait, it has to be a lore-related question?
Yeah.
That's what it said, but if you don't want to...
You could make him ask a certain game about... Actually, I'm going to cheat. Miss Click, you are in the chat. Go ahead and put your question. We haven't had a question from you on the mailbag in a long time. So put up your question. I'll read it. But yeah, your lore-related question. Could you ask for a lore game? Like, ask them to make a game based off of a certain lore? Is that like a...
I would ask them to do... I would ask them just to tell me as much as they could about the demons and the Dark Tribe, because I'm still obsessed with that. I did like 3 or 4 theory videos about that leading up to and post Skyward Sword. I'm still obsessed about it. And I would ask them... I would actually ask them, Girahim is a black weapon with a red jewel that is wielded by the Demon King. The King of Darkness mentioned in Four Swords Adventures is the Demon King in the Japanese version. And it is wielding the Trident, which is a black weapon with a red jewel, that makes him the Demon King. Is the Trident Girahim? I want to know.
Like, if Girahim can take another, a separate form.
You already know he can. He makes sabers when he's a human, but he's a big broadsword when he's, or like a giant...
He can create his own weapons to use.
Yeah. So why wouldn't he be able to change shape? Yeah. It'd be awesome.
Already a sword that can become a human person.
Yeah, and the thing is...
There's no reason he can't become a different type of sword.
No, so here's the thing. Like, you need the Master Sword, blessed by the goddesses or whatever, to kill, like, Demise or Ganon or whatever. But it doesn't work the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, Demise, Ganondorf, whoever, doesn't need a specific weapon to kill Link.
No.
But maybe to kill Hylia. Or one
But
of the
maybe-
other goddesses.
Well, here's the thing. Demise created all the demons. Girahim leads all the demons in his absence. Ganon clearly inherits control over the demons at some point, because that's what a lot of the bokoblins and stuff are. Perhaps having the title of the King of Darkness or Demon King gives you the power to control the demons. Perhaps Girahim and the Trident are what gives that power to the next successor.
I like that.
Especially in the absence of the Triforce of Power. You can argue the Triforce of Power gives Ganon that power previously, but the Ganon 4 Swords Adventures is confirmed to be a different Ganon, so maybe he doesn't have that power and he needs to have the Trident's power to do it. That's what I would want to know about.
Yeah,
Girahim
that's a
is
good
transformer.
No. Your name is a
Your name
transformer.
is a transformer confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Axel, did you pick your question?
Yeah, in the Discord, this one stuck out to me.
Okay.
What is the worst theory made on the Game Over Knight of Ashelda asks? What is the worst theory made on the Temple of Time? And I would say, for me, it would be Nintendo's canonical explanation is the worst theory on what happened in the Temple of Time. Because the Temple of Time exists in Skyward Sword. It's in the Lanayru Desert, which is where the Temple of Time is supposed to be in the other games. It's in the Hyrule Castle region.
Yeah.
But you know what Hyrule Historia says the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time is?
It's the
The
sealing
sealed temple became
Yeah.
the What?
Yeah.
The worst
I thought-
theory on the Temple of Time is the official story of the Temple of Time.
Yeah. I don't know any Temple of Time theories. Like, do people make these theories?
I personally, I
don't
hate and despise. I don't despise. I dislike all geography-based Zelda theories.
Right.
Yes,
like if someone is
Nintendo
using-
doesn't take geography into account.
Yeah,
at all.
they've literally said the reason Lake Hylia is located on a different side of the map, the reason it's a different size, the reason it looks different, the reason it has different landmarks inside of it with each game is because it would be boring. So it isn't some over thought out, contrived theory or lore based thing. The reason that Lake Hylia is here on one game and it's in another location, the reason the Temple of Time is in one place, but then it's like somewhere else, a different.
Yeah, but
the
it's
Temple of
different
Time
when
may
you have
be
it-
a different thing, but it's basically it comes down to not some overarching, thought out, clever lore they created. It's so that the game won't be boring. Their answer, Nintendo's real world answer, is we don't want it boring. That's why everything's not in the same place every time.
And Nintendo's ridiculous explanation of the history of the Temple of Time functions as the ultimate proof.
All right.
Okay. One more question.
All right. Our last question comes from Miss Click Gaming, who has been playing Fortnite with me, so thank you. I'm addicted to Fortnite now.
Uh-oh.
You're gonna ruin all the schools.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you to Fortnite rehab.
RJ, he, Miss Click, and Cece have all been very critical in me becoming addicted to Fortnite. But Miss Click's question is... Axel, you go ahead and read it.
Where is it?
The
in the
YouTube
chat.
live chat. Since you are the guest, you can read the final question.
Okay, Miss Click
Clickety.
Gaming.
You have to scroll.
Jesse, at what point in the timeline do you really think the peak of Sheikah technology is? We know of the age of prosperity, but does that coincide?
I think it's actually pre-Skyward Sword, where the ancient robots.
Yeah.
I think that's also Sheikah technology that had hit a height. But the thing is, I think what makes it better than the Sheikah technology we see in Breath of the Wild is that the ancient robots they have like AI, they have personalities.
Yeah.
They're like intelligent and sentient.
It's
whereas the
actually
Guardians and stuff are autonomous but not sentient.
The divine beasts are implied to have actual relation. I mean, it's kind of like vague because it could just be like how people talk to their cars or something.
That's
But
kind of how I thought it was.
But it also seems really heartfelt when the champions are talking to their divine beasts after you defeat each of the dungeons. It feels like there is a consciousness, and only the champions can talk to them because they're the.
Sure, but then think about it technology-wise, to have a giant thing.
So the era
a
of
huge
prosperity.
thing that has
Good point.
thing versus like a robot that's half Link's height to
That's a
have
good point.
personality. What seems more advanced?
I had to look this up, but the era of prosperity is between like Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time, like where the Minish and everything.
Oh right.
So
Yeah, I don't think there was much technology to be had there.
Yeah.
Yeah, despite it being called prosperity.
well, there were like the thousands or however many years between Skyward Sword where they could have like reconnected with all of the past like rediscovering all of this ancient technology
Yeah.
from previous Skyward Sword. But then by the time Minish Cap happens, it's like there is none of that.
Yeah, I feel like it
So
was
maybe
probably.
maybe they were like technology's evil, like they were one of those civilizations. So they just like killed all the robots.
Kill the robots.
Yeah, they could have been afraid of the technology. Like why is
play
it
this-
warning me my batteries are dying? I'd want our batteries.
Oh no.
What is this?
That's true. Also, Phi was like kind of created by the Fofum was kind of created by Hylia. She's
Yeah.
kind of implied to be technology as well in her own sense, but
Yeah, that's what I
Well-
never understood. Is like Girahim was just a normal
Fabulous.
character. No, like Girahim was a normal character. Phi was more of like an artificial robot-esque personality.
Yeah.
Like, she even talked robotically, but
Because
Girahim
she
was just yeah. What were you saying, Axel?
It's because Girahim loved life and he liked doing stuff, and Phi was like sealed away her whole life, and she didn't even know what people were like.
She's like, God, you're such a
He was
square,
out-
Phi.
we don't know. Like when Girahim was created, he might have been the same.
Yeah,
And because we see that Phi starts to understand emotions and stuff
Yeah.
by the end of the game. So
Girahim-
it could be that he started that way and he's just started learning more and more and just started developing this fabulous personality.
He's like,
He's been
"Man,
running
You've
around
never
the whole
lived until
time."
you've had a milkshake.
Yeah, it's like he had a taste and he's like, damn, it's good to be alive.
She also knew that her fate was to like become a sword forever, and
Yeah.
he, I think, loved. I mean, he was for. I think he wanted that too. Actually, he loved
he
it.
kind of
when-
enjoys it.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of a masochist.
but I
Sadist
think
and
that
masochist.
yeah, but I think that he has been around so long, he doesn't have a choice but to have a personality. He never settled
Yeah.
into that role.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, Miss Click says, are we limiting the timeline to 10,000 years then? Breath of the Wild mentions the occurrence to 10,000 years before with the first beasts. That puts a cap on the spacing. No, I look at, personally, I'm using Twilight Princess as a reference point of the timeline. So Breath of the Wild talks about 10,000 years previously they had their fight with Ganon, which is when the divine beasts were first made. My thought, that has to happen after Twilight Princess, after Wind Waker, like after those periods of time. So there is a game,
Yeah.
like Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, whatever happens, there's a game that it skips where Ganon comes back. He's stopped by the divine beasts. 10,000 years after that, Breath of the Wild happens.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think you were taking it as I was saying that the entire timeline takes place between the 10,000 years gap. Like, the divine beasts are created, all of the games happen, and then Breath of the Wild happens. So, like, it's all within that. That's not. That can't be possible because Ganon doesn't show up until Ocarina of Time. So, at the very least, it would have to be some time after Ocarina of Time that the 10,000 years begins. But I could see divine beast-esque type things being created around the same time as like the sentient beings from Skyward Sword. Because like even in
Yeah.
Skyward Sword, which is the first on the timeline, there is all the ancient technology. Like one of the dungeons is literally called the Ancient Cistern. And it's like, how is
Yeah.
it ancient if this is the first in the timeline? But that gives you thoughts
More
that like
history.
there's like
Yeah.
thousands of years that takes place before Skyward Sword. So like who knows? There's like an
Yeah.
entire timeline existing before that.
Anyways, Jesse, I gotta run.
Yeah, I think that brings us to
What?
the end. So the most scientifically advanced for me would be the era of peace before Skyward Sword.
Ditto.
Where they, that, like they have tablets in Breath of the Wild, but
Yeah.
I'd
Sure.
rather
But
have
robots, man.
robots.
Robots.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, for joining.
Thank you, Jesse.
Axel, for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And
Peace
we're
out.
I really got.
Take care, man.
Bye.